So I'm going to take you through the process of creating this this tube op art kind of project. This is the end product, and here's a couple of variations. And I talked about this in class. This one just has less lines, and this one has more lines, and you can put in as much as you want or as little as you want, but you just want to make sure that you have enough enough lines so you can start filling them in with a lot of cool color. Okay, so to start the project, you start off with your piece of paper. For my demonstration, I'm holding the paper long ways. This is 12 inches by 9 inches, and 12 inches is my width and 9 inches is my height. If any of you guys wish to turn your paper in any sort of way, there's going to be some sort of, modifications that you're going to have to make, some sort of changes. But the way that I'm showing you is this. Hopefully most of you guys are okay with holding your paper this way. So the first thing that you're going to be doing is you're going to be making a rolling hill type of line. You don't want this line to be too jagged or anything. You think of a rolling hill, don't think about a roller coaster with crazy lines like this, just kind of like a rolling sort of line across. This could be done in pencil or it could be done in Sharpie, but every line of this design is going to be gone over in Sharpie. So if you feel like you want to start in pencil, you can certainly do that. But I am going to start in Sharpie marker because you guys can see the lines better. So you start with a wavy line in the middle, just a rolling, casual kind of curve. Think rolling hills, not roller coasters, so no zigzags, no crazy tall hills, no loops, something kind of mellow. Now we're gonna put some dots in here, and the number that I wanted you guys to work with is 8. So I tend to start kind of in the center, and then maybe in the kind of the center of that, and kind of in the center there. So I have 3, and then maybe 1 in between here, maybe 2 in between here, 1 in between, 1 in between, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay? Now you're going to be making these curved lines, these bumps. And the curved lines are going to go from dot to dot, kind of connecting the dots, but you're connecting them with these little bumps. So the bumps that are on the top of that original line are going to be going up, sort of like frowns. And the ones underneath are going to be bumps, kind of curving up like smiles, or going up. Okay? Now when you get to the edge, the end over here, you do not have to connect the line again. You can have it kind of branching out as though the bump starts off, far away, and then, it's going to curve back together, but you don't see it. It kind of gets cut off. So you can see I did this on the other side. Okay. So you're going to continue this process. And basically it's going to be a series of lines going in, like frowns, and a series of smiles on this side. So what I suggest is that you give yourself some guidelines. So from each of these dots, make some wavy lines going up. This is going to be directing you to where these tubes are going to be going and how wide and how thin they get. If you guys want, you can keep these lines really sort of almost straight. If you like the waviness, you can definitely get a little wild if you want. Okay? You can even connect them like this. Okay? You can go ahead and start up another one like this as well. Okay? So these lines are going to start from the corners or from these little dots that you made. Some of them can connect like this. You can start a new tube right there if you wanted to. These lines can go in different directions. So you're just going to basically fill up the space. So you're going to end up with 9, about 9 sort of wavy lines coming down. Well, 9 areas rather. Okay, and 9 areas coming up there. All right. It's at this point that you're going to continue those curved lines in those spaces to kind of stripe them up with curved lines. These lines do not need to connect to each other in these areas over here. So you do not have to start your new curve here. You don't have to have them connected. They can start wherever you want. If you guys are interested in sort of numbers, if you're trying to kind of get an idea of how many to have, I would say at least, maybe about 10. You'd probably end up with about 10 stripes. Those lines could be close together, they could be far apart, but they're all going to be curving down like a frown on this side. When you start working on this side here on the bottom, they're all going to be going in that same direction. They're going to be curving up like a smile. Okay. So you just continue this process. When you get to the edge of the paper, just like before, you do not have to curve these all the way down, and they don't need to connect to each other. So you can just have a kind of like a half a curve. Okay. And the spaces in between, you can have some of these stripes being wide and some of these stripes being narrow, or you can have them all the same. It's up to you what you want it to look like. Good rule of thumb, like I said, if you have about 10, that's pretty good. I also mentioned in class that the curves, or these stripes shouldn't be any bigger than the width of your thumb. Okay, so you're going to continue this process. It's at this point, once you're done with your design, just go back and make sure that there's, you might have some areas that you might need to connect your lines, make sure everything is neat looking. And if you did it in pencil, it's at that point, once you're happy with the way everything looks, you're going to go over everything in a Sharpie marker and take a nice eraser and erase all your pencil lines. So then that way, when we're done with this, we are ready to start applying color with colored pencil.